Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to start the February reading vlog. Today is the 1st of February and I thought I'd just show you quickly what I'm currently reading. So right now I'm pretty much halfway through Monstrous Volume 5, which is called War Child. This is a fantasy series and yeah, this is Volume 5, so it's pretty far advanced in the series. This is the only comic book series I'm following right now and I'm very excited to read the last half of this. Probably later today, but we'll see about that. Then I am reading the last Lord of the Rings book, The Return of the King, with my partner. And yeah, we're about a third through, I would say. So this is kind of slow going, but we're taking our time with it and really enjoy it. So this will probably not pop up too much in this vlog. But yeah, we are now at the part with Denethor and Faramir. So if you know the story, you probably know what I'm talking about. So that just got resolved. And yeah, I love this reread. This is my favorite series ever, so this is great. And then lastly, I'm listening to an audiobook called Rest Sister by Mark Lawrence. I have a lot of that left, I think like 15 or 16 hours, so I'm not that far into it right now, but I am enjoying it a whole lot. I have heard that the author has been accused of sexist behavior, so if you don't want to support him, I want you to know that, and so you can go look into it more. I didn't know that when I purchased the book, so now I decided to keep reading it, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind if you support authors that have done problematic things in the past. I think that should be mentioned in vlogs like this. So that's what I'm currently reading and I will keep you updated. So it is the 2nd of February and yesterday night I finished War Child. This is the 5th volume in the Monstrous comic series and I decided to give it 4 stars as I did with all the other volumes before it. I was really hoping for some more major things to happen. What I do like about this volume is that we get flashbacks to a very important event that happened before the storyline when the main character was still a child. And so we kind of know now what happened during that. But yeah, I just wished there would have been a little bit more happening. Like, I talked about 2 characters meeting and that didn't happen, so I was a little bit disappointed in the end. And also I feel like the ending was like very, very battle heavy, so it was basically just volumes of battle and people dying and devastation. And yeah, so as I said, I'm going with the 4 stars, but I'm really looking forward to the next installment, which hopefully comes out later this year. And though the next book I want to pick up is this one. This is a German book called something like Grimm, GRM, I don't know. This is by Sibylle Berg and I have no idea what this is about, but it says brainfuck on the cover, so I have no idea what to expect. This is also a pretty heavy book. I think this is over 600 pages, so this will probably take me a while, but it will also fulfill one more prompt for the Medievalathon, because I had checked out a couple of prompts from the Baker career, and that would be one for that, even though I don't really remember what the task was right now. But if I manage to finish this before the readathon is over, I will mention what it was for. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited, but also a little bit hesitant. I had this on so many 2020 TBRs, and then it always intimidated me too much. So we'll see about that. I think the prompt was a book chosen by someone else, because I got this as a gift for my birthday last year. And I have this policy that I try to read all the books I get for my birthday within a year. And yeah, I haven't done that again. So I have to catch up with this one. So yesterday I started my read of this book. I'm just gonna call it Grimm from here on. This is quite interesting. I rarely ever read books written by German authors, so that's something new for me. And yeah, this book has quite a weird structure because it's not following your like typical characters. You have like multiple points of view in here, but not in a way that you would expect, like it's usually done. And also, I would say that the writing style is intentionally unlikable, which is a super weird thing to say about writing style, but it definitely feels very stylized, but at the same time quite angry and yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it reads very unlikable, but at the same time, you know that everything is done on purpose. So yeah, I have read 50 pages so far, so I'm not that far in, but it's definitely interesting and I'm gonna keep you updated. It's the 4th of February today, and I am 119 pages into this book. I can't really say a lot more than I said the last time. This is definitely like a stream of consciousness experience, but you change the consciousness in between. It's a really fun writing style. And yeah, I'm still clueless on what this is about, but I hope I will see soon. I mean, I almost have like 20% of this book read now, so yeah, it would be nice to see where some of this is going. Like, so far, it feels like we've only just set up the characters, so yeah, we'll see about this. Also, I'm almost 50% done with Red Sister now, and that's my audiobook, and I really had a good time listening to it right now, because there is a character that you really don't know. He's a corrupt character, and he is pretty much evil, and there was just this scene where, yeah, he was put in his place, and I did enjoy that part a lot. It was really good to listen to. So yeah, this is something I could have in more books, like scenes like that where corrupt old men are put in their place. So today is the 4th of February, no, the 5th. Definitely the 5th, I'm sorry. I'm now 220 pages into this book, so I've read a good third of it. Still have no clue what this book is about. And I can't really say anything else apart from I think I finished the first part now. There was like a little intermezzo. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what this is. So also, I'm now almost halfway through Red Sister. I listened to a little bit more than an hour yesterday. And there was kind of a plot twist. I really like that at the beginning of the book, you get like a little glimpse into the future. And now, almost at the middle of the book, you get another one. And this is kind of a plot twist. So I really liked how that was included in the story and where it was placed and stuff like that. So that definitely keeps you interested, because you're like, okay, well, when that happens in the future, like what the hell is going to happen now to lead up to this? So yeah, I did like that. And I must say, Hessa is my favorite character. I love her so much. She's so cute and precious, and I love her. Oh my god. So yeah, definitely the book took a turn now that I did not expect. So I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. And as you can see, I have this really nice pimple from wearing one of those medical masks. And yeah, it's really bad. I only have to wear them when I go grocery shopping. So yeah, I've realized that whenever I do that, I get really bad pimples everywhere where the mask touches my face. So it's really not great. I guess that's what happens when you get your mask from China. I don't know. So yeah, we love that. So today's the 10th of February. If I look a little bit tired, it's because I am, but yeah, I'm still reading this book. I'm a little bit more than halfway through right now, so I have about 300 pages left of it. And this is just not making me want to pick it up, basically. So yeah, it's been very slow going, and I've rather, watched some YouTube or stuff like that. So I really want to finish this book this week, preferably until the day after tomorrow, which probably won't happen. But yeah, life is just weird. We have this really, really huge snowstorm right now, so it's very unusual for the area that I live in. People are very confused. They don't know how to deal with it. And yeah, I do have like a doctor's appointment on Monday next week. But with the weather, I just don't know. It's a very, very long drive because I still go to the doctors where I'm originally from and not where I live now, because obviously if you change the place of work a lot, it doesn't really make sense to go looking for new doctors when you have to go there like once a year. So yeah, I would have to drive for usually 3 hours, but with this kind of snow, it could easily be 5 hours or more. So I really don't know if I want to do all of that just for a doctor's visit. And yeah, so I'm kind of stressed out because of that, because yeah, whatever. I've also listened to a little bit more of my audiobook, and obviously that long drive would be the perfect opportunity to finish my audiobook and start the next one. And I'm very much enjoying it. Red Sister is definitely an interesting read. I really like the world. The world building is my favorite part about this. And yeah, but I also like the characters, and I like that, there are some really complex relationships, especially between Era and Nonna. So yeah, I would really love to see their relationship grow. So especially with the like little bit that we saw in the middle. Yeah, but that's all for now. I'll keep you updated. So it is the 11th of February. I would be at my hairdresser's right now, but yesterday was decided that hairdressers have to stay shut for another almost month, so they will be open again in March, hopefully. So yeah, I will have this mess for a little longer, luckily. Today is the end of the Medieval-a-thon, so it ended last night basically, and I have not managed to finish this book before the readathon is over. I do have about 200 more pages of it. Last night I read pretty much 100 pages, and yeah, I probably should just DNF it. I don't know why I still keep going, but I'm not a DNFer. I don't know how to do it. I just always read books, no matter how I don't like them. So yeah, I think this will probably turn out like a fine 3-star. I think it's basically just too long. Like, this is a 650 page book, and I think it should have been like 350 pages because nothing is happening. The writing style is fun, but not if you read it for 650 pages. And yeah, it just has no plot at all. So yeah, it will probably just turn out to be a fine book, and that's it. Apart from that, I'm still listening to my audiobook. I have 7 hours left of it now, and I am enjoying it. I think the fight scenes are a little bit much for me personally. I don't like, to read so many fight scenes, but I think they are done in a good way, I guess. So yeah, they just feel pretty realistic, I guess. But yeah, I just want more plot. So the bit I listened to last night was pretty much just all fighting. So I want more plot, please. But that's all. The end of the Medieval-a-thon, it was a great time. I had a lot of fun, and I did manage to hit my goal, even though I didn't read all the books from my TBR, but it was still fine. And I just hope that I can finish this book this week, because it's dragging. So it's the 12th of February, and I'm almost done. I think I will finish this today. I really have to finish it today. I'll let you know if I finish it today. So today's the 13th and last night I finally finished this book, and I have figured out how to say the title finally because it is Grime, I think. But this is a book by a German author called Sibylle Berg. I decided to give it 3 stars. I think it is way too long for what it is. It is written in this like weird stream of consciousness style that makes it really easy to read but really hard to understand. So especially during the end, I have no idea what happened. Nothing much happened during all of this book, so most of the time it isn't really clear what's happening, and yeah, so I have no idea what the book wanted to tell me in the end, and it's just a very pessimistic kind of view of the world we live in and how it could develop with like machine learning and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just fine, way too long, and yeah, a little bit confusing to be honest. So the next book I want to start is this one. In German it's called Bella Clara, but I saw on Goodreads that this has actually been translated, and I think the English title is The Queen of Beauty. This is a historical fiction book, kind of like women's fiction, I guess, and it follows a woman called Clara who gets divorced and then does something with like beauty products. I don't know. It is set during the early 1900s, and this was a gift by my best friend, and this is actually the 3rd book in a series, but it's like companion novels, so it should be fine. And this is also super long, so I'm not really excited to get into the next super long book right now. But we'll see. My best friend said that this should be a very quick read, even though she also said that I probably won't like the main character, which is great because now I'm like really interested to go and read this book. But I'll let you know what I think later. Hey guys, today's the 17th of February and I haven't talked to you in a while. A ton of stuff has happened, which is unusual for these times, but yeah, I'm here to catch you up a little bit. So I had to go home, I think I mentioned that, to go to a doctor's visit, and so I've spent a lot of time in my car. The weather conditions were horrendous, but it all worked out in the end, and yeah, I just had a lot of time to listen to my audiobook. So I finished Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. I decided to give it 4 stars. I think it is a good fantasy book. I definitely liked the world building the most. I really enjoyed this kind of idea of this planet that the story is set on, and so I definitely am interested to read more about this world because I think the lore and stuff like that is really interesting. I also really like the main character Nonna. I think she is definitely interesting, but I had a couple of characters that I liked more. I think that Era is really interesting, and yeah, I just liked her kind of setup because, you know, you think she's from a very wealthy family, that she grew up to be a snob and stuff like that, and the first impression is definitely that. But I think she's actually a very strong person who is loyal to her friends and who has definitely suffered in her life as well. And then we have Hessa, who is a disabled character. She can't walk that well. She's walking with a cane, and she is very intelligent and also has very strong kind of magical abilities. They call that thread weaving, I think, and she's really good at that. And yeah, so those were the characters I was most intrigued by. One thing I didn't like is that I just could not manage to get all the sisters from the convent straight. I kept mixing them up, especially Kettle and Wheel, for some reason. I know that they are very distinct characters, and also they have very different relationships with Nonna, but I never remembered who's who. And also they have like different names if they are teaching. So yeah, it's kind of difficult to keep track, to be honest. I think that now that I've finished the first book and I've started the second one, I'm starting to get a little bit better at it, but it's still a struggle to keep all of those nuns straight. I really also enjoyed the Abbess. I think she is such an intriguing character because she's a very powerful woman, but her strength lies in her serenity and in her kind of, yeah, her strength is just really quiet. She doesn't get triggered by men who try to tell her how to do her job and stuff like that. She keeps very calm and finds her strength in that. And that is like an overall theme with the convent, is that you have to find your serenity to be a strong fighter and a strong person. And so yeah, I think the abbess is a great example of that, and I'm intrigued to see her character maybe a little bit more in the second book. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so overall I really enjoyed it, and I decided to continue with this series. I got Grey Sister as an audiobook now. I've only listened to 2 hours so far yet, so I'm not that far in. But when you start the second book, it's kind of a time jump, so you get a little bit of what happened right after the first book, and then it jumps 2 years. So they're all a little bit older now. I think in the first book, the main characters like Nonna, Hessa, and Era are around 12 years old, so now they're getting more into like teenage years, like 14, 15. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this story goes. I think it has like a very good lore and a very good like cliffhanger setup where you get these like little glimpses into the future at certain points in the book, and you see the constellation of the characters, and so that makes it even more intriguing because you really want to know how these characters got to these places where they're in the future. What I didn't like about this book is that one of my favorite characters died at the end of book 1. Definitely a bummer and a theme right now, because I also just finished watching the second season of The Alienist on Netflix. And one of my favorite characters dies at the end of that season, and I'm not okay. I'm still furious. So furious. So yeah. On the other hand, with my physical book, I have not done any reading, so I'm still 50 pages into this. I've talked with my mom about this book, and she said that she read it and that she did enjoy it, but she was like, yeah, it's kind of like a mindless book, you know? Like everything is presented to you, you don't have to think, you can just let it roll out. And yeah, I don't know, that's just not the kind of books that I'm like really into, but I will try to read this book this week. I've had just a really stressful meeting right now, and now that that's done, I think I can finally start concentrating on things again. Also had a lovely migraine last night, so yeah, I will make progress in that book as well, I promise. So it is 7 days till haircut. I'm very excited. I can't stand my hair at all anymore. But let's talk about this. Yeah, today is the 23rd of February. Still reading this. I am a little bit more, pretty much halfway through. This book is cursed for me, honestly. I don't have time to read. And when I have time, I don't really want to read. I want to do other things. So yeah, this is a very slow process. And really, while it is somewhat interesting, it just doesn't catch my attention, I guess. And whenever I'm reading it, I'm just like dreading what happens next, because I'm afraid something like really dramatic and over the top will happen, which so far hasn't. Like all the kind of drama things were resolved quite quickly, which I enjoy because, you know, that's just how life usually works when you're an adult. So yeah, it's not that the book is bad or anything. It's just that I'm so hot. It's so hot here. You know, we've gone from minus 20 degrees to 20 degrees within a week. So yeah, I don't know. It's just this book. So I really want to finish this week. And I hope you hold me accountable, because yeah, this is only the 4th book of the month for me, and my minimum is 5 books a month, though. It's not going well, guys. So sorry if I look a bit disheveled. I had too many Zoom meetings today. Still reading this book. It's not going anywhere. Just want it to be over. I really don't enjoy reading this. I tried, and there was a bit that was enjoyable. But now it's just like I'm forcing myself to read, and it seems like I can only read like 20 to 30 pages a day, and then I'm just like, I can't. It's horrible. I really need to finish this book. It makes me crazy. So yeah, that's that. Also, I have about 10.5 hours left of my audiobook Grey's Sister by Mark Lawrence, and I'm really enjoying that one. I think I mentioned it before, but I really like the chapters from the Abyss's point of view. I think they add a lot to the story, and so yeah, I'm enjoying the audiobook, not enjoying my physical book, and I'm in a big slump and work is crazy, so now you know. So today I have less than 100 pages of this book left, so I will definitely finish this book today. And I also feel like I have made it through the worst part. Now this book heavily features an abusive relationship. In the beginning, the main character is in a physical and emotional abusive relationship, and then later in the book she gets into a emotional relationship where she is exploited. So yeah, it's really not fun to read about, and something that really irks me is that the title of this book is actually the kind of nickname that the abusive partner gives her when he's trying to lure her in. So yeah, not very high enjoyment levels, but I feel like the worst part is over now, so I hope that in the end this male character will get what he deserves. We'll see about that. I'll keep you updated. So today is the 26th of February, and I can proudly tell you that I finished reading Bella Clara last night. I am finally done with this book. It took me way too long to read this, and overall, I must say that I did not enjoy this book. I decided to give it 3 stars because I don't think that the book is bad. It's just not my taste at all. And yeah, I really hated the, I don't even know if you can call him a love interest. But yeah, I thought that the worst decision the author made was to give you chapters from his point of view, which I think completely ruined the story. But yeah, as I said, just not my thing, and I'm so glad this is done now. So yeah, I already have the next one in the series ready to read, because I think I've explained this before. My friend did a thing where 3 of her friends got these books, and now we have to send them to each other after reading them, so I definitely have to get this one shipped now. And yeah, I have a little bit of time to read the next one, so I'm not rushing into it. So last night I started The Lives of the Saints by Leigh Bardugo. I only read the first couple of stories, but this is a book that basically tells you very short stories about the different saints from the Grishaverse, and it is beautifully illustrated. It's also a beautiful book, as you can see. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. Obviously, most people who have read these books are really hyped for the TV show, and I'm also anticipating the next book in the Nikolai duology. So I think this will put me in a good mood and also be a very fast read because it's not that big actually. And then I have about 8 hours left of my audiobook, Grey's Sister, and this one last night took a turn, to be honest. So yeah, there was some kind of a twist or just something happening that I absolutely did not see coming. So I'm very intrigued to see where this book goes from now, because yeah, I'm pretty much halfway through, and I don't know why, but I just never expect books to have like huge things happen right in the middle. And Red Sister had something like that as well. So yeah, this is definitely special for this series, but yeah, I'm enjoying my time with it, and I will keep you updated. So today is the 28th of February, and I thought I'd do a last quick update for my reading before we go into the wrap-up part, the end of the vlog part. So I just finished The Lives of Saints by Leigh Bardugo. This is a very tiny book that has stories, very short stories of the saints that we meet in the other books, like the Six of Crows series and the you know, the Nikolai book, King of Scars, because saints play a very big role in this world. And yeah, this is just a little book telling you about these saints, and I felt like this was a very authentic book, so the stories definitely felt like real stories of saints. They don't always make the most sense, but they have like very clear patterns and themes, I guess. And then also, I feel like Leigh Bardugo is really good at taking stories that already exist, but giving them a twist, so they appear more modern, more feminist, and stuff like that. And I think that if you compare this to Language of Thorns, which was more of a fairy tale collection from the Grishaverse, I think Language of Thorns has the better stories, but it's only like 5, and in here you have, I don't know how many stories about the saints. So yeah, they're definitely different. And I think what this book has speaking for it is the illustrations. They are so gorgeous. So for example, this one of Elisabetta, which is, I think, my favorite of the whole collection. It's so beautiful. And then you also get the Darkling and a little story about him. And obviously Alina from the Shadow and Bone series. So I think this book is definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the series, and since a lot of people are really into the series again because of the Netflix adaptation, I think that a lot of people would enjoy this, just getting a little bit back into the world with these like very short stories. I really liked it, and overall I gave it 4 stars. So welcome back to the wrap-up part of this vlog. I will try to give you quick reviews of all the books that I have managed to read in February. It wasn't as much as I would have liked to read. I only managed to read 5 books, but it's still fine with me, so let's get started. So the first book I finished in February was Monstrous Volume 5. It is called War Child, and this was a read for the Medieval-a-thon. I'm sorry about my cat in the corner there. I hope she doesn't distract you. But yeah, this I read for the Medieval-a-thon, and that was still going on until the 10th of February, I believe. And this is the last book that I read for the readathon. This gave me a level 5 in the... what did I even do? Oh, the clergy career path. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been such a long time. But yeah, that gave me level 5 in that career because the last challenge was to read whatever you wanted. And after reading Monsters Volume 4, I wanted to go into 5. And it also gave me the level 7, so the Empress level for the readathon, and that was pretty much my end goal, so I was very happy to achieve that right at the beginning of the month. Now for this book, this is a graphic novel and a fantasy series that is set in a world where you have kind of 2 warring species. You have the Arcanics that usually have some kind of animal part, and the humans. And humans don't really trust the Arcanics, but we are told the story from the point of view of an Arcanic called Micah Wolf. And yeah, she has this kind of thing living inside her, and it is all about this world, and it's very political, very high fantasy. There's a lot of blood and gore and stuff like that, so definitely adult content. But I do love this series. The art style is absolutely stunning, and yeah, I just can't wait to read more. At the beginning of this volume, I thought this might be the first 5-star one because there's a lot of things that we're currently waiting for to happen because, you know, tensions are high. And then unluckily, this did not happen in this volume, so I was a little bit disappointed in the end. I decided to give it 4 stars as I did with all the other ones before. And yeah, this is the only comic book series that I'm following actively, so I am very excited to get the next volume, probably later this year. The next book I finished was Grime by Sibylle Berg. This is a book by a German author. I think this copy is absolutely stunning. I really like the design of this book, and yeah, I think it is beautiful. This is also, I think, over 600 pages, and let me tell you, this book is just too fucking long. This should have been like a 300-page book, and it would have been pretty cool and unique, but dragging it out over 600 pages just made this such a repetitive, kind of weird, but not really great book. Now, what this book does is that you follow a wide array of characters in a kind of stream of consciousness style. So you're just following their thoughts, and then it switches characters. Maybe I can show you, like here. So this is a character switch, and usually you have that in the middle of a sentence. So you start the sentence with the thought of one person, and then you have the switch where you see the name, and then it finishes with matching thought of the other person, kind of. So it's one of those books where you don't really have chapter breaks or anything like that. I think there's like 3 or 4 breaks actually in this whole book. So it is kind of easy to read because you just let it flow through your head. But it's not interesting. So as I said, this would have been a cool concept, but it would have needed editing down so badly. And yeah, it just couldn't grab my attention, and you would read like 100 pages and nothing would have happened. And especially with the ending, I felt like because you were in the head of certain characters and not all of them are human, some things you just don't understand. So I don't want to spoil it, but there is a character that is like an artificial intelligence, like an AI, and this character tries to do something in the end, and then you switch into the head of one of the humans who tries to intervene, but you never know whether it worked. I guess it did work, but I didn't understand it. I'm still not sure, and everything that happens after does not give you a clue. Like it could have worked or not worked, I don't know. So yeah, at the end this was just so unsatisfying and I had no idea what I've read. So this is just trying to be edgy, and yeah, if you read this in like 10 years time, nothing will make sense because it is very like timely in a sense that all the kind of ongoing discussions are crammed into this story. But yeah, it won't age well. I don't really see what the point was. So in the end I gave this 3 very lost stars because yeah, I don't know what this book was. Then the next book I finished was my audiobook, Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. I decided to start this series because I was really in the mood to listen to some high fantasy, like a trilogy or just a series in general. So I started this series, and then in a group chat I realized that there have been some allegations with Mark Lawrence, like he's said to be quite sexist and that he even might have done something wrong. I don't know. I just find it very hard to keep track of these things, especially because people never talk about them in their videos when they recommend books. So yeah, I wanted to give that quick disclaimer. If you're interested in his books, maybe go and check him out and Google around a little bit before you buy them. I didn't do that. I usually don't do that because yeah, I'm just a shitty person, I guess. But yeah, just so you know, if you want to be conscious with these things, then I told you. This book follows a character called Nonna Grey. She is a small girl at the beginning of this book who lives in a village in on another planet completely. So this is high fantasy. You have this different planet, and I really like the world building in this because the way it is set up is that you have this planet in a kind of part of the universe where the sun is dying, so it doesn't have enough energy anymore to keep the planet warm. So you have this huge kind of ice covering this planet, but somehow with like magic and technology, I guess, they put up a moon which is basically you know, shaped like this, so it will get the sunlight and kind of, I don't know how the terms in English, but you know, it just will make a small beam of the sunlight go onto the planet, and so they have something, what do you call that? I listened to it on English, you would think I know the words, but my brain is just so bad. The corridor. They call it the corridor, and that is just a very small streak of land that is still inhabitable where there's no ice. So that's the world, and we have Nonna who lives in this world, who's in a very, very poor state, so she doesn't really have food, she doesn't really have warmth, and then she is taken by a child taker, and he's trying to sell her for a lot of money because he thinks that she has magical abilities, and so she ends up in this convent where there are sisters, like nuns, and they are trained to become warriors. So that's basically the setup of the story, and yeah, I always feel a little bit iffy if I read a book written by a man about a girl. I think that's just a weird setup, but I must say that I do enjoy these books. I ended up giving the first book, Red Sister, 4 stars. I think that it really had such an interesting world, and I also liked the plot. I really liked that you get this kind of like prologue, and then you think it won't matter until the end of the book or even the series. But then right in the middle, you get a little chunk of that more. And it's just really, really intriguing because you want to know how you get from the actual story to these like little bits that are set in the future, because it just feels like this is never gonna happen. Like, how do these characters interact to get to that point in the future? So I thought that was very clever. What just confuses me a bit is that I didn't have that in the second book, because I thought that would be a thing with the series, but I don't know. So I hope I will get answers to these things, but I thought it was just very cleverly done. And also, yeah, there were just so many small bits that I liked about the book, but the main things would be the world building, the main character, and the plot. So yeah, I think that it's a good fantasy series, so if you don't mind reading a girl character written by a male author, I would recommend this. But I've not finished the series yet, so maybe it will all change. So you have to, stay with me on this channel and find out my final thoughts later. The next book I finished was called Bella Clara, and it was written by Petra Durst-Benning. I always get her last names mixed up. So this is again a book written by a German author, which is not what I usually read, to be honest, and after this month I remember why. But this is a book that I got as a gift for Christmas by my best friend, and she did like this little thing where she gave 3 of her friends 1 book of a series each, and now we have to kind of ship them around. So I don't have the book with me because I had to ship it to the next person, but I have the next book in the series waiting for me. So in this book, it's set around like the early 1900s, and you follow a character called Clara. And Clara has decided to get divorced because she's in a very abusive relationship. Her husband is emotionally and physically abusing her, and the only way she can get a divorce during that time in Germany is when she forces him to want the divorce. And so she has this whole plan where she pretends to be in a secret relationship with a guy, so that the husband will come home with a colleague, and so that everyone will know that she cheats on him, and he will have to ask for divorce to, not be a laughingstock, basically. So her plan works out well, but after that's all settled, she's not allowed to see her children anymore, which honestly is something where I thought that was obvious, but it's not. So she despairs, and one of her best friends, who is also the main character in the first book of that series, she is like, well, how about you just go to a completely different city and try to start new, start fresh. And that's what she does. She goes to the south of Germany. The region is called like Bodensee, so it's a very popular vacation spot still. And yeah, the novel makes it seem like it was back then as well, which I can understands, or it's probably true. And there she starts a beauty empire. And I like that part of the book. Like, obviously, I do like beauty. I think it's very interesting. I do love reading about the history of beauty products and how, you know, in the like 1700s, they were full of crap that made your skin so much worse and stuff. What I did not like about this book is that it is very heavily focused on finding a new partner in a way. So even though Clara doesn't want to have a new husband, she eventually meets a guy and marries him. And yeah, all of that was just too much in my opinion. It was the complete focus of the story, and the whole beauty aspect was just like a side note. And yeah, just so many choices, like from the main character, but also from the author. I think the biggest thing that I hated about this book is that we get chapters from the point of view of that new husband. And trigger warning, this is an abusive relationship as well. He basically marries her so she will bring in the money and he can do whatever he wants. He cheats on her, he ruins her business because he's trying to squeeze even more money out of it. And it's just so hard to read because she doesn't see it. And she doesn't see how he manipulates her. But obviously you do, because you read these chapters and you know what's going on in his mind. And I think this might have worked if there weren't those chapters that are in his mind. Because then you would have kind of believed that he doesn't do it on purpose, but knowing what a horrible person he is and then seeing the main character not getting it is so hard. And yeah, it just really wasn't fun for me. I really don't enjoy this. And so in the end, I decided to give this 3 stars because honestly, I don't think it's a bad book. It's just not a book for me. It just really wasn't, it just really wasn't a book for me. So yeah, there's 2 things I believe that I did not like about this book that I think is a fault of the book. One thing is, I wouldn't call it fat shaming, but the way the fat characters in this book are portrayed, I thought was not well done at all. We have 2 kind of important fat characters. One is depicted as a housewife who gained all the weight because she's just so afraid of the world and she doesn't go outside. And the other character is an older woman who was happily married and then her husband died. And the book basically says that she just ate so much that she became fat just so that no other guy would ever try to marry her because she wants to not marry again. And just very cringy, very cringy. So yeah, I did not like that representation. It was really, really bad, even though the women themselves kind of had a journey and they were important characters, but I just felt like these premises were way off. And then the other thing is that I did not enjoy how Italians were portrayed in the book, because it was like very mafia-esque. So what do you call that in English? The mob? That's what you call it in English. So they were portrayed in a way that, you know, they had like these very strong family bonds, and family is the most important thing, and if you don't do what your family wants, they will punish you with violence. And yeah, it just felt very cliche and I did not like that either. So yeah, these were the 2 things in the book that stood out to me as being just bad writing and not only being not the right kind of book for me. And then the last book I finished in February was The Life of Saints by Lee Bardugo. Obviously the trailer for the Shadow and Bone series dropped, so I got really excited. I'm also really excited about the second book in the Nikolai duology, so I thought this is the perfect time to pick up this book. Now this is a very tiny book, so this is even smaller than Language of Thorns, but it has a ton of stories in it. So yeah, this is all the stories that are in here. And so they're usually around like 2 to 3 pages. There's a couple that are a little bit longer, but this is basically just the story behind the different saints, and a lot of these tie into the books. So we have things that tie into the Shadow and Bone series, we have things that tie into the Six of Crows duology, and also things that tie into the Nikolai duology. Now obviously in this Nikolai book that we got, what's it called, King of Scars, there we have a lot of things about the saints. So I would have liked to have reread that one already, because I definitely plan on rereading it before the second book comes out. But yeah, I felt like I missed some of the things because I wasn't really sure anymore which of the saints actually popped up in King of Scars. But apart from that, this was a fun read, and I think the selling point of the book is definitely the illustrations. I think I showed you this one before, but it's just my favorite. The illustrations are just beautiful. You get one for every single saint, and all of them are stunning. So if you are into this world, the Grishaverse, if you like beautiful illustrations and just these kind of little short stories, I think Lee Bardugo is really good at. I would recommend this book, and I gave it 4 stars in the end. So yeah, these were all the books I read in February. Let me know what your favorite read of February was. As you can see, my month wasn't that great, but here's to March, which has already started a lot better. And yeah, I hope you have a great time. If you like this video, leave a like or nice comment. I always appreciate those. And if you subscribe, I will talk to you soon. Bye!